The 80s Rewind Show podcast, where the past meets the present.
Hello, it's the 80s Rewind Show podcast with me, Rob the Face Radio Burgess, and welcome along to today's episode. I hope you're doing really well out there. On the last episode, I made a bit of a mistake. I kept calling Nick Bill. I don't know why. I just did. I just kept calling Nick Bill all the way through it. So many apologies for that. I paid one in the morning. I guess it was on my mind. Anyway, sorry about that. But on to today's video. We've got the fantastic Blur and a track from their 9th album, The Ballad of Darren. It's interesting. I've not heard it yet. It's called The Narcissist. I love Blur. They're from Essex. That's where I'm from. And they've been around since the late 80s, 89, 88 they formed, around about that sort of time. And they've been bringing out brilliant music ever since then. I remember in the 90s, around 94, Parklife was everywhere, boys and girls, country house was everywhere. And we'd be in the pubs or you'd be out clubbing, you'd hear it, and it was just amazing. Damon Albarn has been compared to Ray Davies from the Kinks because he writes what he sees around him. I can't disagree with that comparison. I think it's absolutely spot on. He does. He writes exactly like Ray Davies. He looks at what's around him and he goes from there. So I'm excited to hear their new single and the new album. Anyway, let's check it out. I like it already. Interestingly, back in the 90s there, you had the divide between the North and the South, and it was who was going to get to number one. I think Oasis was Live Forever and Blur was Country House. I can't remember. Tell me in the comments if you remember what it was. But this sounds very Manchester, as they like to call it. It's got that sort of guitar sound already, which wasn't like Blur really. They were sort of a bit more ambient back then and a bit more sort of dance orientated to a degree, like, especially like Boys and Girls. But it's interesting. It starts with that sort of sound.
Looked in the mirror. So many people standing there. I walk towards them.
I like Damon's voice in this already. He's got that lovely big echo sound, the reverb sound, really, really big. It sounds really good, really powerful.
Into the floodlights.
I love it. Sounds like an old drum machine from the 80s. That's really, really cool.
I heard no echo.
Even though it's on his voice.
There was distortion everywhere. I felt my ego.
That's lovely harmonies there. Really nice harmonies. I like the way they're blending under the main line there. The main sort of melody line there. Really good.
I felt Roberto standing there.
See that sound there, that drum beat and the guitar work. That's very sort of Joy Division or New Order. You see what I mean about the Manchester thing? It's very Manchester sounding.
Found my transcendence. It played in mono painted blue. You were the hero. I was the dark room.
It's very catchy with that under harmony, isn't it? Where they're saying the main line, he's singing the main line, they're singing it again. It's very catchy with that. Like you can get hooked into that song because it's got that going on.
I'm the shining light in your eyes. You probably shine it back on me, but I won't fall this time. With Godspeed, I'll heed the sign.
Where was the chorus? I guess that was the chorus. It wasn't a big chorus, you know, like you normally get like, oh, the people, he lives in a house, you know, that sort of style of 90s Blur where you knew that was the division between the verse and the chorus. It seems it's more of a subtle chorus this time. I like that. It's really smooth. It just slides in. And then we've got a great guitar solo I take from Graham Coxon.
I saw the solstice. Service station on the road. I took the acid under the white horses. My heart it quick.
It's interesting there. What I was saying earlier, he's sort of autobiographical, talking about what's around him. He's talking about drugs at the moment. I wonder if this is a reflection album. I wonder if he's going back to the 90s, looking back on that period. Not necessarily he took drugs. I'm not saying that, but maybe it was an influence of people around him that he was looking at, and that's why he's writing about the sort of drug influence. I wonder.
I could not tear myself away. Became addiction.
So he became addiction. So I know someone in his circle back in the day had a bit of trouble. I wonder if he's writing about that.
If you see darkness, look away. I'ma shine a light in your eyes. You probably shine it back on me, but I won't fall this time. With Godspeed, I heed the signs.
Yet again, really mellow. No sort of smashing guitar solo coming in from Graham. No like massive drums or anything. Just moving along at a really nice pace. And then the solo just sort of slides in really nice.
Oh, glorious world. Oh, potent wave, valleys gone wild. Connect us to love and keep us peaceful for a while. I'ma shine a light in your eyes.
If you want to get deeper into it, he says, I'ma shine a light in your eyes. Like, he's talking about drugs earlier, and you could tie it into people overdosing, I guess, because paramedics shine lights, don't they, to see what the pupils are like. So I wonder if this is a deeper song than it's meant to be. If you see what I mean, like, I wonder if it's a deeper lyric than the actual song itself, or maybe I'm reading too much into it. But with the drug references and the shining lights in eyes and stuff like that, I don't know. I'm just tying it all together. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm not sure. That's the angle I'm taking from it anyway.
You probably shine it back on me, but I won't fall this time. With Godspeed, I heed the sign. I'ma shine a light in your eyes.
It's getting larger now. You can hear the sounds becoming a wash, like Phil Spector. I like that.
You probably shine it back on me, but I won't fall this time. With Godspeed, I heed the signs. I won't fall this time. With Godspeed, I heed the signs.
Listen how large that is. That sounds amazing. And then it goes to a little drum machine breakdown at the end. I love that. That's really cool. That is really interesting. That is a really interesting single from them. I'm just curious to see what the second single and the album's going to be like. You know, they're all older now, so they might be looking back a little bit and looking at the past and seeing what they thought about their time in the 90s. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting too deep into it, but that is a really interesting single. Like, you know, it sounds a bit Manchester at the start there. It's a bit prog rocky as well. It's a bit early electro, like sort of drum machines. It's got a massive Phil Spector sound. I really like it. It's really interesting. Sometimes when bands release songs and they're just tiny bit more ambient than that, people don't like it. But that's when I find them the most interesting, because they're the most introspective. But I really like that. I really hope the album is going to be interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments. You know, like and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinions on it, and especially the album when it comes out. And reach out to me. There's some links in the description if you want to say hello, and you can join the Instagram and all that sort of stuff. I'd love to know your opinion. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Anyway, thanks for joining me on this reaction video, and I shall see you on the next one. Ta-da!